The Black-Eyed Demon. This story is from the 1980s. Kevin lived in Texas with his wife Rachel, his son James, and daughter Emma. It was winter, and the whole family returns home late at night.
Are we home yet, Daddy? I am very sleepy. Don't bother Daddy, sweetie. He's driving.
Dearie, you can count until 10 and we'll probably be at home.
Emma starts to count.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Kevin stopped the car as soon as she said 6.
Daddy, I haven't finished my counting yet.
There, standing in front of the car, is a shivering child, standing in the road.
You guys sit inside. I'll go find out what's going on.
Be careful, Kevin.
I will. You stay with the children.
Kevin goes to the child, who stands with his face lowered.
What happened, son? What is your name? And where are your mom and dad?
My name is John. My mom and dad told me to wait for them here. We are very poor. I have been standing since morning, and they did not come.
The child looks at Kevin. Kevin feels pity for him.
Let's go. You can come to our house today.
Kevin makes John sit in the car and tells Rachel everything.
But Kevin, how can we take someone else's child to our house? What if his parents come looking for him?
I don't know that, Rachel, but we can't just leave him here in the cold.
Kevin drives the car and everyone comes home. James and Emma are staring at John. John silently comes inside the house. As soon as he comes inside the house, he looks up at the chandelier. A devilish grin crosses his face. Kevin was standing directly below it.
James and Emma, this is John. And today you guys will share your room with him, okay?
Okay, Daddy.
James whispers to Emma.
He's really strange. Why is he just staring at the house?
I don't know, brother. Maybe he's never seen such a big house. Come on, John. Let's show you our room. John, first come and eat something.
No, I'm not hungry.
John, Emma, and James go into the room.
Strange. He was alone on the road since morning and now saying he's not hungry. That doesn't seem right.
You too, Rachel? Come on, I'm very sleepy.
As Kevin and Rachel begin to leave, the hanging chandelier falls from the roof. They both get scared.
See? I said something is wrong.
Nothing's wrong. I'm fine. The screw must have just loosened in the chandelier. Thank God the children weren't around. Now, let's clean it up before the kids get into this mess.
Just then, John is looking at them both with his black, scary eyes, and goes away smiling. Emma cannot sleep. She is too excited.
Go to sleep, Emma. Why are you jumping?
Brother, tell me a story, will you? I'll sleep then.
Then John comes, looking normal.
Should I tell the story?
Emma and James look at John as he starts telling the story.
11 years ago, a woman named Helen came to this city. She was very poor and looking for work. One day, Helen meets a man named Peter. Peter was born with black eyes, and his family called him Satan. But Helen did not mind at all, and they fell in love. And after some time, they got married. They had a son a year later. Do you think he would be evil? Strange, bad events would happen whenever their family would visit somewhere. They were kicked out of towns and cities. Helen died of this shock. Even Peter could not bear the shock. He gave his son all his black powers to take revenge from the city. And then Peter also gave his life. Now, whenever that kid visits someone's home, chaos starts there. and now he is taking his family revenge from the entire city and will continue to do so.
Emma and James are listening to the story carefully, and they are scared.
Who was that child, John?
John looks at her and says nothing.
Now go to sleep, Emma. It's midnight.
Everyone falls asleep, and John's eyes open up. He has black eyes and a devilish smile on his face.
Now it's time for you guys to sleep forever.
Rachel wakes up, and then wakes up Kevin.
Wake up, Kevin. I can't sleep. An unknown child is in my children's bedroom.
Okay, let's see if everyone is asleep or not.
John pushes Emma and James off the bed.
What are you doing, John? Is this a time for a joke?
Emma starts crying. Kevin and Rachel rush to hear Emma's crying voice. As soon as they open the door, they are left speechless. James and Emma are crying badly.
Mommy, John has beaten us.
When Kevin and Rachel look at John, John's eyes turn black and he laughs out loud.
Calling me to your home, guys. You have called your doom. Now everything will be ruined in this house.
Kevin angrily runs towards John, but is suddenly overtaken by John's evil eyes. Kevin's eyes also turn black, and he picks up a knife.
Don't think, Kevin. Just obey.
Kevin angrily runs towards Rachel and attacks her. Rachel runs away with both children, but John comes in front of her.
Leave us alone. We helped you. Let us go.
Then Kevin stabs her in the back with the knife. He is still under the control of John. Kevin also kills James. Then John looks towards Kevin. John waves his hand and Kevin jumps off the roof of his house, and he too dies. John sneaks out of the house and makes Emma just like him. The next night, a man named Max was coming home from the office. Then he saw a child who is shivering.
What happened, dearie?
The child lifts her head and looks at him. She is Emma. After some time, Max starts walking to his house with Emma, and his eyes have also turned black. The end.
The Ghoul. This is a story from the 1980s. A girl named Zara lived with her parents in Dhaka City. She used to work in a library. She was very fond of reading. Whenever she got free time from work, she would sit down to read books. Her friends, Dan and Maria, would often visit her at the library. One evening, while Zara was reading a book in the library, Dan and Maria come there to scare her. Zara shouts, "Oh, you guys are impossible. This is a library. We should be quiet."
Oh, girl, you're always busy reading books.
Yeah, Dan is right. You do not come to meet us. So we thought we should visit you. Hey, there is nothing better than a good book. Guess which one am I reading now? Maria and Dan ask without any interest. Which book? The Ghoul, who's also called the King of the Darkness.
So, what's it about? Tell us the story.
Dan and Maria look at each other and laugh as they sit in front of Zara. This is the devil that the whole world fears, you know? Terrible teeth, dreaded eyes. There's a tunnel inside the earth, and that tunnel opens at 7 places in this world. It's said that he remains in the tunnel inside, but if someone goes to those 7 places and removes stones from there, then they will come out and spread their fear all over the world. Okay, which are those 7 places? Zara shows them photos. There's a picture of a forest that has a cave and tall trees around it. Dan watches the place carefully.
Hey, I know this place. There's a forest just a short distance from the city.
What? Then let's go there and see if this is true or not. No way, girl. Enough with your silly ghost stories. We just came here to pick you up.
No, Maria, now I want to know whether this is a real place or not, or if it's all just superstition.
No way! I don't want to go so far from the city. Come on, Maria. It'll be a fun trip. We haven't gone out anywhere for, ever. Okay, guys, okay, let's go.
Okay then, see you tomorrow morning at my house and then we'll go from there.
Okay, I'm very excited. Let's see what happens. The next day, Dan leaves with Maria and Zara, heading out to find the cave. As they near the cave, Dan opens the book and tries to match the cave and the given picture.
Look, it looks just like this book.
Outside this cave are these stones, but there's nothing like this in the book. Let's remove these stones. This scared Maria. I'm so scared, dude. What if there is a real ghoul in here? What if he gets out and eats us or something? Zara and Dan laughed at her and started moving stones. It takes them all day to remove the stones, and they work into the dark of the evening. After removing all the stones, they see a door inside the cave. They see a strange animal-like picture. Let's go. Haven't you seen enough? Let's get out of here. Such a waste of time. Not like this. Now that we have come this far, we will leave only after seeing everything. As soon as Zara touches the door, suddenly, a sound of grunting comes from inside. The creature's eyes glows red, and it runs towards the door. Zara and Dan open the door further. Now the door is open, and I don't see anyone. Let's go. I don't want to waste any more of our day. When Maria turns and starts walking, a terrible creature climbs over Maria and roars. Maria turns back and looks at her. She had never seen such a terrible thing. Dan and Zara see the ghoul and are frozen in terror. Dan! Zara, save me! The ghoul has really come! Please save me! She is slipping backward when the ghoul catches her leg and starts eating her leg. Maria screams with pain. The ghoul is eating flesh and blood is dripping from his mouth. Dan! Do something, Dan! He will kill Maria! I'm very scared!
I don't understand anything. What should I do, Zara?
You got a rock! Throw it at the creature!
All right, you be quiet.
Okay. Dan picks up a stone and throws it at the ghoul. The ghoul looks at him and he gets furious. He looks towards Dan, and Dan starts to run away in fear. The ghoul runs towards him. He shoves Dan from behind, and Dan falls to the ground. His head is hit by a stone and he bleeds. Then Zara picks up Maria. Maria, wake up, Maria! I'm too scared, Zara. He will kill us. Gather your courage, Maria. Didn't you see how terrible is he? I'm very scared. We should not have come here. I have a lot of pain in my leg. I do not think I will ever be able to walk now. No, Maria, don't say that. We will face it together. You calm down. I will think of something. Zara finds a fallen book and starts reading about the ghoul. She gets surprised while reading. Maria, there's only one way to pacify ghoul. Unless someone sacrifices himself in front of him, and he will not eat his flesh. Till then, he will never stop. Dan opens his eyes. He has a head injury. He gets up and runs away scared. As soon as he starts running, he sees that the ghoul is standing in front of him.
No! Leave me! Let me go! No!
Ghoul is looking at him angrily. His eyes are changing colors, and his size has become even bigger as soon as the ghoul comes to attack him. Zara stops him and starts reading from the book. Ghoul, I am Zara. I want to sacrifice myself. You come and eat my flesh and keep this world away from your havoc. Maria and Dan are shocked to hear this, and they're trying to stop Zara from offering herself as a sacrifice. No, Zara, don't do this!
Zara, please don't do that!
All of this happened because of me, so it is my responsibility to fix it. Dan and Maria start crying. The ghoul moves towards Zara and drags her legs and takes her inside the cave. Zara screams with pain. The door closes on its own. Maria and Dan begin to cry and hug each other.
I could never have imagined that something like this would happen to us.
We should leave here, Dan. Zara sacrificed her life to save our lives. We should respect that. Dan agrees while crying continuously.
You're right, Maria. Let's go from here.
The end.
The Chapacabra. This is the story from 1995. In the village of Mexico, Ryan lived with his wife Rosie and 15-year-old son Alex. Ryan had one of the largest farms in the village. He also had many animals. One day, Ryan called Alex.
Alex, I have to go to town for some important work. You have to feed all the animals and take Jimmy for a walk.
Okay, Dad, don't worry at all.
Ryan left for the city. Alex's friend Parker came to his house.
Alex, you want to go see the circus with me? I've heard that this year's circus is better than last year's.
No, Parker. Today I have a lot of work. I have to feed the animals. And then I have to take Jimmy for a walk.
So let's get something done. I'll help you feed your animals, and then we can go see the circus and take Jimmy with us. That'll be his walk.
You won't let him just walk around with us.
Oh, we'll just tie him up for a while and watch the show, and Jimmy won't do anything. He's a really intelligent dog. Aren't you, Jimmy?
Jimmy wagged his tail. Alex is happy to see this.
Okay, come on. Then let's quickly finish all the work.
Alex finished all the work with Parker's help and went to see the circus with Jimmy.
I am very happy that we'll watch the circus first, and then tell everybody about it.
Yes, it'll be fun.
Alex and Parker reach near the circus and they tie Jimmy to a tree. Then a strange animal was watching them from behind the bushes. It had sharp teeth and shining eyes. Alex and Parker tied up Jimmy and went to see the show. Jimmy was tied, stuck there, looking around. Now everyone was inside the circus, and the show had started. Jimmy looked at the strange animal behind the bushes. He started barking loudly and started pulling at his rope vigorously. That strange animal came out and stood up in front of Jimmy. It looked very terrible. His eyes were red, his teeth were sharp. He started staring at Jimmy. Blood was dripping from his teeth. Jimmy started barking towards him, pulled his rope as hard as he could. Alex and Parker could not hear him. They were enjoying the circus when Alex said to Parker,
Parker, I should see if Jimmy's.
You stay here. I'll go check on him. There's still time remaining for the final show.
Okay, hurry back.
Parker came out of the circus and looked towards Jimmy. Then saw that only the rope was tied to the tree, and Jimmy was gone, perhaps running in the bushes.
Hey, Jimmy, where are you going? Wait!
Parker ran behind Jimmy and ran into the bushes as well. Parker searched for Jimmy, but could not find him.
Where have you gone, Jimmy? What am I gonna tell Alex?
Parker started to walk back when he tripped on something. As he got up, he realized it was Jimmy's body, bleeding and all dried up. Parker cried after seeing Jimmy.
What has happened to you, Jimmy? Who did this to you?
Parker was crying, and that scary creature was looking at Parker and started growling. Parker heard the sound of his growl. When he looked behind him fearfully, his wits left him, and he ran away in fear. He was horrified. The creature ran after Parker and jumped on him and attacked his back. Parker fell to the ground and began to gasp badly. The animal stabbed his pointed nails into Parker's neck and drank his blood. Parker screamed out, but the animal would not stop. Alex was waiting for Parker still, and upset that he was late.
It's too late. Why hasn't Parker come yet? Now even the final show is about to begin.
Alex came out of the circus and started searching for Parker.
Parker? Where are you, Parker?
Alex sees that Jimmy is not even tied to the tree anymore. Alex is upset, and he looks everywhere but finds no one. So he ran home and told his father everything.
Don't worry, Alex. Tell me, did you ask for him at Parker's house?
Yes, Dad. He did not come to... I'm very scared, Dad. Jimmy is also missing.
Rosie came to them in a panic.
You know who has returned to the village?
What are you saying, Rosie? Tell me.
Today, a woman came from our neighboring village. She was telling that Chapacabra is attacking in her village and drinking the blood of animals and humans.
Ryan starts to cry at this news, and Alex is alarmed to see both of his parents upset.
What happened, Dad? Who has returned? Who are you talking about?
Chapacabra.
Chapacabra?
Yes, Chapacabra. The last time he came was 10 years ago. There was so much devastation at that time.
But who is this, Dad?
Alex, this is the devil's pet. It is said that he fills his stomach for 10 years at a time, and then comes back to fill his stomach for the next 10 years. He kills humans and animals and drinks their blood. Alex is scared to hear this and starts to cry.
Dad, Parker and me are also missing. Isn't this animal...
Don't you worry, Alex. We'll find them both. Come with me.
No, both of you will not go anywhere at this time. I'm very scared.
Don't panic, Rosie. Just close the door of the house. Alex, take me to this circus place.
Ryan took a knife and left with Alex. Chapacabra was watching all of this from a distance. Ryan and Alex reached the site of the incident and started searching for Jimmy and Parker. Rosie was at home worrying for Ryan and Alex until there was a knock at her door.
It seems these guys have come.
As soon as Rosie opened the door, she was overwhelmed with fear. Chapacabra was standing in front of her. Its red eyes were looking right at Rosie. Rosie screamed and Chapacabra jumped on her. Meanwhile, Alex and Ryan were tired of searching everywhere for Jimmy and Parker.
Dad, I'm feeling very nervous.
Let's go to Parker's house. His mother's father must be worried about him.
This is all because of me. I should not have come here.
We'll find both of them. Don't worry, Alex. Let's go. Ryan and Alex go towards Parker's house. Alex sees that the door to their house is open.
Dad, the door to our house is open.
But who would come to our house at this time of night? They both scurry towards the house and see the blood stains on the door. Rosie, where are you? They both saw Rosie lying on the ground and her body is dried up. There is bleeding from her neck. Ryan and Alex come to Rosie and start crying. Chapacabra sets out to hunt his next prey. The end.
The Licked Hand. This is a story from 1956. Hannah lived with her entire family in a small town in Chicago. She was 12 years old and had a pet dog named Tom. She is very fond of him. Hannah takes Tom everywhere and spends all her time with him. On this day, Hannah's parents were preparing to go on a trip.
Hannah, you really should come with us. We can't just leave you here alone. Oh, Mom, I'm not a child. I can take care of myself and this house. You go without me, and don't worry. Plus, Tom is also with me. We'll be fine.
It's all right, Rosie. Hannah, you can stay. We'll be back by tomorrow morning. It's only a matter of one night. Let's go. Hannah, you have to lock all the windows and doors, okay?
Okay, Daddy.
Hannah's mom and dad walk away. Hannah comfortably sits on the couch and turns on the radio. Keep listening to Horror Stories with Peter.
Oh, wow. This is my favorite program, but Mom and Dad never let me listen. But today, I can do anything I want. So, I will listen to horror stories today.
Hannah turns up the sound of the radio, and the program begins. Today's story is a bit interesting because it is said that it is based on a true incident. This is the story of Halsett Street in our city of Chicago.
Wow! That's my street! Halsett Street means I will hear the story of our place today. I am very much excited.
This incident is from 20 years ago. A common man named Walter lived on Halsett Street. He had no family, so he adopted a lot of dogs. Many of his distant relatives had their eye on Walter's property. Some would even go to his house and try to kill him so they could inherit his house. But Walter had a pure heart. His loyal dogs would always save him. One day, a distant cousin named Mark came to his house. Mark wished to gain Walter's property, and one night Mark went to Walter's room and added poison to his water. Walter drank the water and died in his sleep. Mark took over all the property, but Walter's loyal dogs did not leave. They surrounded the new homeowner and ate him. For years, the vicious beasts kept everyone away from that house. Until, one by one, the dogs each starved, laid down by their master's dead body, and died with him. Hannah is scared to hear the story.
Wow, that's a scary story. I'd better go close all the windows and doors like Dad said. Mom and Dad will be home in the morning anyway.
Hannah closes all the windows and lays down on the bed to sleep. But she is afraid. She wraps herself in her blanket and covers her head. Then the flower pot falls from the table on her side table. Hannah screams.
Tom!
Tom arrives and sits on the side of the bed.
Please don't go anywhere leaving me here, Tom. I am very scared.
Hannah hangs her hand from the bed and Tom licks her hand, and Hannah falls asleep. At midnight, Hannah's eyes open completely, and it looks like something has bitten her hand.
Tom, what have you done? Why have you bitten me?
Hannah looks into the room, but Tom is not there, and there is a sound of crying. Hannah arrives in the hall, looking for him.
Where are you, Tom? Come out! What happened, my boy?
Hannah hears the crying coming from inside an empty room. Hannah opens the door and sees Tom hanging upside down in the air, and his eyes are bloody red. And on the wall is written, "We can lick too." Hannah gets scared and starts running away. Suddenly, Tom becomes a terrible monster. His sharp teeth, red eyes, and blood dripping down from his mouth was scary. It was the ghostly souls that came inside. Hannah is running away, and Tom came running from behind, taking her leg in his mouth, and pulls her backwards.
Leave me! Let me go!
This animal is loyal to you right now. This himself.
Tom bites Hannah's leg fiercely, and her leg bleeds. She limps away. Tom destroys the entire house.
Leave me, Tom! Please let me go! You are my faithful Tom! Recognize me!
Tom starts staring at her. Hannah calms herself, puts her trembling hand on his head and pets him. Tom slowly starts remembering Hannah. But then the ghosts take over Tom again. Tom's face turns red with anger. His pointed teeth become large. He is enraged to kill Hannah. He attacks Hannah and injures her badly. Hannah faints. The next morning, Hannah's mom and dad are knocking on the door of the house for quite a while, but only the sound of barking comes from inside. Hannah, open the door, sweetie. Hannah!
What happened, honey? It's so late. Why isn't Hannah opening the door? And this Tom is also barking. I'm very nervous.
Wait, I will break down the door. They enter, and both scream. Hannah's corpse is lying on the floor, and Tom is circling her and barking continuously.
My baby girl! What happened to my baby girl? Who killed her?
Both start crying, and they're not able to handle the shock that Hannah is no longer alive. Rosie and Hannah are crying near Hannah's body. Then Tom comes to their back and starts snarling at Rosie, and the father turn and look back in horror and are surprised to see Tom. Then Tom starts to slowly move towards them.
What has happened to Tom? Why is he watching us like this?
They both look at Tom. Tom, sit down. Tom, what has happened to you? I said sit down. Didn't you hear me, Tom? Tom leaps at them. And they both start screaming, and all the birds fly away, and all the dogs in the city can be heard howling. Hannah's parents also leave the world like Hannah. Charlie. Joseph grabs his cell phone and calls his friend Charles.
Hey, Joseph. Charles, there's no one at my house. Both Papa and Mummy have gone to a friend's house.
Cool, I'll be there in a jiffy. It was not long until the doorbell of Joseph's house rang. Joseph opened the door, and Charles was on the spot.
Dude, come in. Have some lunch and soda, then we'll play a fun game.
Which game is it, bro?
Charlie.
Shh. That's a very dangerous game, dude.
Come on. We're never afraid of anything. Let's give it a try.
Fine, but don't say I didn't warn you. Joseph quickly brings white paper and 2 pencils. After this, he writes yes in the first corner and no in the second one. Then at the bottom, he writes down no in the first corner and yes in the second corner.
Charles is watching very carefully. Joseph immediately put one pencil horizontal and the second pencil over it in the center. Then he shut off the ceiling fan above. Charles, get ready now. It's time to ask Charlie the question. Remember one thing, we do not have to be afraid and we don't have to retreat.
No way, Joseph. You ask first.
Okay, I'll ask. Charlie, will you answer my questions? After a while, there's a slight vibration in the pencil, and it moves towards yes. Meanwhile, both of them hear the footsteps of someone in the other room. The chair near the table slowly slips away. They experience an invisible power. Some voices start coming in. Both friends are left speechless. They both could not even have imagined that this would happen.
Hey, that's awesome. Charlie said yes. Joseph, did you hear the footsteps too? You saw the chair slide away, right?
Yes, so exciting.
Charlie, are you around us in this room?
The pencil slowly moved towards yes. Slight laughter began to echo in the room. Both of them could not see Charlie, but they were feeling the presence of him. Then there was a row of questions after questions. Charlie, did you commit suicide? Both of them were looking, but the pencil did not move at all. Suddenly, all the lights in the room turned off. Strange sounds started coming from the walls. Someone's cry and sobbing could be heard. Joseph lit some candles. A faint light was spread throughout the hall.
Tell us, Charlie, did you commit suicide?
This time the pencil slowly turned to no. Both friends' jaws dropped.
That means that Charlie was murdered.
Suddenly the doorbell rang. Both boys were startled. Joseph and Charles came near the door. Joseph looked out of the keyhole and sees his neighbor, Rosalind.
Who is it?
Rosalind.
Do not open the door. She looks really creepy.
I'll make excuses and she'll just leave us alone. Why are you here?
You called, and I arrived. I am Charlie.
Charles and Joseph shudder when they hear Charlie's voice. Charles begins to run, but Charlie, the neighbor, grabs him and lifts him high into the air until he's slammed against the ceiling. Then he falls onto the ground. Joseph helps him up, and they begin to run away from Rosalind.
Charles, are you okay?
Charlie slowly moves one step ahead. Then all the things in the hall start to shake and fly past Rosalind out the door. Charles and Joseph try to hold on to each other so they aren't sucked towards the ghostly woman. Charlie breaks the things while slowly walking towards the boys.
You have started it, but I will finish it.
Suddenly the door closes by itself and the house is still and quiet. Charlie, we're your friends. Charlie laughs loudly.
Would you like to see how I was murdered?
We don't want to see that.
Please, leave us. We will not play this game again.
I want everyone to play this game. I enjoy it a lot. Don't you enjoy it?
Yeah, but we gotta get going now.
I came here by your wish, but I will go only on my terms.
When will you go?
After the last level is over.
Last level?
Want to see?
When Charlie picked up the pencil automatically became a big knife.
I had a birthday that night. I was waiting for friends to come. They came and they cut me with a knife. I could not even cut the cake. Today I want to cut the cake.
Please wait. We'll go get the cake. Come on, Charles.
The cake is already here.
Where is it?
Here it is.
Charlie, please. Please, Charlie.
Joseph, I will not cut this cake. You will. Ding
for me. This is the game.
No, I can't do this.
Think. I'm giving him an easy death. If you refuse, then I will give him a terrible death.
Okay.
Joseph, please, Joseph. Please, Joseph, please.
Sorry, Charles.
Goodbye. Take this knife.
Saying this, she gives the knife to Joseph and throws Charles onto the table.
Come on, Joseph. Happy birthday to me. Come on.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Charlie. Happy birthday to you. He cuts Charles while singing, and he starts to bleed. Charles agonizes. Charlie grabs Joseph's wrists, and they lift the knife up in the air together as they sing, then plunge it into Charles, who dies instantly. Please leave me now. I obeyed you.
Joseph, do you know who murdered me?
Who?
My closest friends. You turned out to be a traitor like them, Joseph. You killed your friend too.
What are you saying?
You are a traitor, Joseph. I will not let you live.
Please, Charlie, please.
Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me.
Charlie kills Joseph while singing.
5, 4, 3, 2. 5, 4, 3, 2. Both dead. Who's left? Rosalind, it's you.
The Charlie ghost leaves Rosalind's body for a moment. Rosalind suddenly wakes up.
How did I come inside? Oh no! Joseph! Charlie! What has happened? Oh no! What have I done?
Rosalind throws away the knife, but then she is overtaken by Charlie again, who laughs loudly.
Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me.
Charlie picks up the knife and stabs herself while singing.
Happy birthday, dear me.
Rosalind kills herself while singing and crumples to the ground, dead. The end.
Dracula. This story is in the year 1930. Jack, along with his two brothers, Harry and Kevin, comes to Salem, which the small town that their grandmother lives in, for Christmas. One afternoon, the three were sitting in Grandma's house when Harry spoke up.
Come on, guys, let's go somewhere. Do something. This afternoon is so boring.
Yeah, man. Great idea. Let's go.
No, dude. I don't want to go. You both go. Jack, bro, Julia's coming to meet us. I talked with her this morning, but no problem if you don't want to come.
Julie's coming? Then I'm game.
Harry and Kevin look at each other and laugh. Then they all go to meet Julie. Julie is his childhood friend, and Jack and Julie like each other very much.
Hi, Julie. How are you?
I'm good. How about you? They are talking and wandering around the whole town. There's a cemetery a little closer to the forest, near where Jack spies a dilapidated, abandoned home.
Julie, tomorrow come meet me here in the evening. Seems like no one comes here, which would be great, because then we could hang out.
Julie smiles and says yes to Jack's invitation. The next evening, Jack and Julie return to the decrepit house to spend time together.
No one will disturb us here. This place is a wreck, and we can talk for hours and not disturb anybody.
Have you heard what folks say about this house? I heard that it's Dracula's home. 100 years ago, the terror of bats in this town had increased. Everywhere the bats kept flying and scratching and hurting people every day. One day, a man named Victor was returning to his home when he sees a black cat with blood-red eyes. Upon beholding this sight, he was struck with fear.
What an evil-looking creature. Looks nothing short of a pure, vile, evil, sinister monster.
Then suddenly, the cat comes near him and scratches his leg with its sharp claws as a bat simultaneously bites him, leaving a scar on his neck. Victor suddenly begins to feel very badly. Suddenly, his teeth start becoming pointed and his finger and toenails begin growing.
What's happening to me? Maybe I should go home early today.
As Victor rushes to his house, his entire appearance has changed, and he discovers that he has transformed into a hideous, terrible Dracula. Suddenly, he feels an insatiable thirst for blood. He cannot control himself, and he drinks his wife's blood. But his thirst is still unquenched, so he also drinks the blood of his 3 innocent children. Dracula's terror in the town increases so much that people stop leaving their homes. Then, one night, Victor the Dracula writes on a hill with his own blood.
I will come again after 100 years.
After writing this message, he disappears into the dark and gloomy confines of his house.
Wow, what a dumb story.
Yes, it is! Now, it's not known whether it's real or not, but word around town is that now 100 years have passed and Dracula could wake up anytime.
Come on, Julie. Enough of these scary stories. It's too late to talk of such things. I'll see you again tomorrow, at the same time.
On the same night, the terror of bats again takes place in the small town. Angry squeaking from the bats, and in the midst of all this pain and chaos, Dracula's eyes open. The next evening, when Jack was leaving his house to meet Julie, Harry stops him.
Bro, you hardly spend any time with us because you're always with Julie. Today, why don't you just stay home and play with us here? I want to spend time with Julie. You guys do your own thing and leave me alone, understand? Okay, fine. So, why don't you just go live in that creepy shack of a house with Julie?
Jack is waiting for Julie at the same house as before.
It's taking way too long, and there's still no trace of Julie yet. I wonder what the holdup is.
Then he noticed a door that had some blood on it. Jack finds that strange. All of a sudden, pitch-black bats start flying over the house.
Whoa, this door leads to the Dracula's dungeon. But whose blood could this possibly be?
Jack slowly and cautiously made his way down the staircase and entered the dungeon. He peered warily around and saw 2 glittering eyes. These eyes approached him, and he soon realizes it's nothing but a cat. As Jack turned, he saw Julie's body hanging, with her blood dripping rhythmically to the dungeon's cold, hard floor.
Julie, what happened to you?
Jack is shocked at Julie's death. Then he suddenly hears the sound of footsteps behind him. When he looks back fearfully, a terrible Dracula stands behind him. As Jack tries frantically to escape, Dracula flies to him and sinks his razor-sharp fangs into Jack's neck, drinking his blood in the process. It's not long before Jack has also died a horrible death. Jack's mother, Jenny, is waiting for him, and she is very worried. Harry? Kevin? Where's your brother? Do you know what time it is?
Mom, Jack spends pretty much all day, every day, with Julie. I bet right this minute now that he's probably still with her.
But this is the day when storms break loose from the foreboding skies and the whole town is engulfed with a plague of bats. Jack's grandmother is greatly frightened.
Looks like Dracula is back. He said that he would return. and that when he did, he'd be sure to drain each and every person of their life source.
What? What are you talking about, Mother? It hasn't been 100 years yet. Suddenly, Jack's mother falls silent as her gaze wanders slowly over to the calendar. It has been 100 years since Victor's incident. Where is Jack? Why hasn't he come home yet?
I told him not to come home. I was awful to him. The two used to meet daily in the old house near the forest, and I gave them a hard time about it. I was being so stupid.
What? That house belonged to Victor.
Everyone is running around in fear of their lives as Dracula's terror reigns over the poor town. Harry, realizing that his brother Jack didn't come home because of him, goes to the old house to find his brother Jack.
Jack, dude, listen. I'm sorry for whatever I said earlier. Can you please come home? Where are you, brother? Can you forgive me?
Then a beam of light comes from a bat's eyes as it senses Harry's presence. Dracula sees Harry. Dracula looks at Harry with a gleam of hunger and instantly starts trying to figure out a way to add Harry's blood to his menu for the night. He subdues the bats, and they fly outside and follow Harry. Harry runs to attempt to avoid them and ends up entering that same dreaded house, leading straight to the dungeon. He sees blood all around him. His heartbeat quickens, and he can't seem to catch his breath, for it is in this very moment he stumbles upon Julie and Jack's corpses.
Brother.
Dracula appears in front of him and he screams loudly. Dracula is approaching him. Then, at the same time, Jenny shows up unexpectedly. She's looking for Jack and Harry as well. She puts her cross, which is in her locket, on Dracula's forehead, and Dracula shudders with pain. But before he gasps his last, he sinks his teeth into Harry's neck before he dies. Jenny frees Harry from the Dracula's grip, and then Dracula transforms and flies away as a flock of sinister bats. Harry, are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine, Mom. But Jack and Julie...
Both Jenny and Harry start crying from the loss of Jack and Julie. The next day, Harry is resting on the bed when he suddenly starts feeling strange. He opens his eyes and studies his reflection in a mirror. Harry's teeth start to turn fang-like. And at that moment, his younger brother Kevin enters. Harry started leering at him greedily. Just one look at his brother caused him to desire to consume his blood. Harry then swoops on him and begins drinking Kevin's blood. Once full, Harry jumped out of the bedroom window and returned to the same old and decrepit house. And once again, a new Dracula resides there to terrorize the village of Solemn. The end. The Closet Horror. This story is from 1980. Alex moved to Boston with his brother David and his father Thomas just days earlier. Their house was very beautiful. Both brothers were watching the house, and they were very content.
Bro, our room is cool, isn't it? Yep. I'll put the bed near this closet. By the way, the closet isn't ours. It used to belong to the old landlord. Yeah, looks pretty beat up. I think I'll take my stuff somewhere else.
As soon as Alex touches the closet, he feels a sudden rushing wind, and he falls to the floor.
Man, are you alright? That was totally weird. I felt like someone pushed me.
Within a few days' time, the whole family had moved in and gotten settled into their new house. One night, Alex and David were sleeping when they heard the sound of someone inside the closet knocking from inside. Alex is jolted from his slumber as the sound of the frantically crying voice reaches his ears. He flips the switches of his bedside lamp and approaches the closet. A terrible sound comes from inside.
Set me free. Open the door.
Alex gets scared and shakes David from his slumber.
What is it?
David, it's the closet. Someone inside is pleading for someone out here to open the door.
What are you talking about, Alex? You must have had a bad dream.
No, I'm telling you, it really happened.
David walks towards the closet and opens the door. He peers inside. Nothing happens. David gives Alex a suspicious glance.
See, Alex, there's nothing there.
All at once, a very dangerous monster suddenly appears, looming directly behind David. Seeing the monster, fear strikes Alex's heart.
David! David! Quick, turn around!
The monster disappears as David looks back.
What? There's nothing there.
Alex was shaking with fear.
I'm gonna get some sleep, and I recommend
That you get some shut-eye too, brother.
Believe me, I saw someone in the closet. We can't stay in this room. Listen to me, David.
The next evening, David tries to talk with his dad.
Dad, can I please stay over at Harry's house? Okay.
That night, Alex is sleeping alone in the room. He's not feeling sleepy. He's trembling and shaking under the covers until he eventually falls asleep, and when he does, deep sleep. But he awakens to the sound of his closet door opening slowly. He peeks out from the blanket and is very afraid. The same monster appears right next to his face. Alex screams and he tries to run away from the room. But the bedroom door will not open.
Leave me! Leave me! Let me go, please!
I've waited years for this. How can I let you go now?
Alex tries to turn around, but the monster moves in front of him wherever he runs. The monster bites Alex's neck, and blood drips to the floor. The next day, David returns home and sees Thomas upset.
Dad, what happened?
I don't know where Alex has gone. He's been missing since this morning.
Don't you worry, Dad. I'll go ask his friends.
David asks all his friends, but no one knows anything. David sits on the bed, wondering where Alex has gone. Then he sees blood under the door of the closet. When he opens the closet, Alex's corpse falls on him.
Brother, Dad, Alex is here.
David and Thomas are both shocked that Alex is dead.
Who could have done this to my son?
Dad, remember what the landlord said? I think we need to go talk to Mr. George.
I'm very sorry to hear about Alex. George, do you know anything about that closet?
George got a little nervous.
It's from my grandfather's time. When I was 20, it is said that there was a fear of a serial killer named Revan. I remember he came to our house to hide from the police. He hid in that very same closet. When my grandfather found out, he locked the closet door to capture the killer. But my grandfather had dementia. Before he could inform the police, he completely forgot that he had locked Revan inside the closet. Revan remained in there for 30 days and died. After some time, the room started to stink. And Grandpa opened the closet and remembered everything. The pastor told us to burn the corpse, but Grandpa buried it.
After that, we never used that closet. That means it's Revan who killed my brother? What are you saying, David?
David tells Thomas and George about his and Alex's nightmarish incident.
Grandpa buried the corpse in the backyard of the house. Maybe if we burn his skeleton, then his soul might find peace. My brother's murderer must be punished.
George and Thomas begin digging in the garden. David goes up to the room to close the closet door again. You know, in case the monster might get out again. But as David enters the room, the door closes behind him. He runs across the room to close the closet door, but is thrown back across the room into the wall. His head aches. Then, the same terrible monster emerges from the closet in front of him. Dreadful red eyes, bloody giant body. David's scream comes out. Outside, Thomas heard the scream and runs inside. The monster grabs David by the throat and throws him again. Thomas grabs a baseball bat and breaks the door and comes inside. He swings at the monster, but the bat breaks in two. Then the monster stabs his sharp fingernails into the stomach of Thomas, and he dies. Outside, George ignores the screams and finds the skeleton of Revan.
Dad!
David starts crying. The monster moves towards him to kill him. But just as he gets close to David, the monster lights on fire. Outside, George had lit the skeleton on fire. Inside, the monster turns into smoke, and the closet also starts to burn.
I know you've lost a lot, David. From today, you're my son. Come with me.
David goes with George, but never emerges from his misery. The end. Ouija game. This is a story from the 1960s. A boy named Harry lived in Poland with his parents. He had 3 friends, Emma, George, and Luna. One day, Harry's parents went to their relative's house. Harry called his friends at home.
After how many days someone's house has been found empty, else the parents had stopped going anywhere?
Everyone laughs and sits on the couch.
Now tell me, what should we do? We all have all night ahead of us.
Let's play Truth or Dare.
What kind of game do you want to play? I have lots of games.
Which one?
Ouija game. I just got it. It looks like fun.
George removes Ouija game from his backpack. It is a dark board, cracked and creepy looking.
Where did you get this board, George? It belonged to my brother. I found it in his basement.
Yes, let's start playing. I don't know. Looks creepy.
Scaredy cat. It'll be fun.
The 4 friends each placed their left hands on the board and look at each other. Candles are burning all around. George begins reading by looking at the paper provided with the board.
If there is a soul around us, reveal yourself to us.
All their friends look at each other and are also nervous. George repeats the same statement.
If there is a soul around us, reveal yourself to us.
That's when they hear the sound of glass breaking. When they look at the front of the house, they see there is a broken window. Luna sounds very scared. Looks like someone has heard our voice.
Soul, if you can hear us, answer our call.
Everyone looks towards the board game, and letters appear in the center of the board. Y-E-S. The children look at one another in terror. I'm so scared, guys. We should stop this game.
No, the real game has just started. George, you should ask that soul something else.
George thinks for a moment, then asks,
What's your name?
They all look towards the board, but there is no answer.
I'm asking again, what is your name?
The previous letters disappear and new letters reveal themselves. E-V-I-L.
Evil! Its name is Evil. This must be a demon. George, stop this game right now!
Suddenly, the candles all go out and smoke fills the room. The 4 children start coughing.
George, what is happening? I'm very scared. We should stop this game right now.
Everyone removes their hands from the board and closes the box. The smoke slowly disappears.
Thank God everything is under control now. George, we survived narrowly today.
Yeah, man, you're right.
A shadowy figure stands up behind George. The 3 are horrified to see him.
Look behind you, George!
George looks back and screams. His arms and legs are very thin. His eyes are red and bloody. There are bruises on his head. The 4 tremble at seeing that shadow.
What happened? You children got scared of me. You guys have called me only. Do you know I was alive like you all? I used to breathe. And you know what I used to do? I used to burn down the small children to their death. Do you know why? Because I was insane. People knew me by the name of Evil Killer. One day, I died in a car accident. And since then, I am wandering in this world to hunt. Today, you have made my work easier by calling me back to this world.
George runs towards the board and starts reading the instructions.
We want to send you back. Go from here. Go!
Evil approaches him and breaks the board and takes the paper in his hand, and it crumbles into ash. George is horrified to see this.
I haven't come here just to be sent back into my prison. Understand?
Evil grabs George's neck and his body begins to soak. Evil screams out loud. Emma, Harry, and Luna try to escape, but the fire flames engulf them from all sides.
Please leave us alone!
George suffocates and his body starts to burn. George falls and is burnt and is nothing more than a skeleton. Harry pours water on the door to extinguish the fire. But the flames do not go out. Instead, the flames become more hot. Evil creeps up to Harry and clings to his body.
That's enough, kid. Now you will not be able to escape from my flames.
Harry screams with pain. Evil made a mark on Harry's body. With his powers, started laughing. Then Luna and Emma come, and Emma takes the cross locket from her neck and puts it on Evil's forehead. Evil begins to suffer badly. He burns Harry badly in the fire, and Harry's body also becomes scorched in the fire.
Luna, run from here. I will stop him with this cross. But you, don't worry about me. You run from here.
Luna starts running away, and the evil attacks Luna instead of Emma. He pushes her from behind, and she falls into the fire at the door. And she started suffering from the flames. Emma has a cross in her hand, so as soon as evil starts to hurt her, he is in pain. He cannot do any harm to Emma.
I'll be back again.
Emma starts crying badly. The fire goes out. She is trembling badly. She opens the door and runs away from the house. The end.
The Werewolf. This story is set in the city of Boston in 1975. 3 friends studied at St. Joseph's College: Ross, Jenny, and Nick, who were very good friends. They were always together. One evening, when the college was closed, they were standing and talking near the college entrance gate. They didn't notice that night had fallen.
Guys, both of you should come to my house on weekends. We can hang out.
I have to do the assignment.
Hey, Jenny, come on. If you're not gonna come, then what's the point?
Okay, guys. Okay, I'm in.
When Jenny, Ross, and Nick look at the road, they see a mysterious person staring at them.
You guys see that weird dude looking at us?
Yeah, I do. Wait here, I'll go teach him a lesson.
Nick runs after the man, and the odd stranger quickly runs into the forest.
Oh, you think you're fast, do you? I'll get you.
Nick runs fiercely after him in the forest. Nick has entered the thick of the forest. After running a long time, when he looks, he finds no one around. Night has swallowed up all the light, except for the rays of the soft moon glow from the full moon hanging above him. He suddenly senses that someone is watching him from a patch of nearby bushes, and his eyes are glowing a fearsome evil red. Nick gets nervous. He starts running fast, and a strange shadow runs after him. Nick runs to the hill near the forest and sees a ditch in front of him.
Oh, what do I do? Where do I go? Oh, someone please help me.
Nick is scared. He looks at a trench. He feels a creature breathing deeply behind him. Nick looks nervously behind himself. There stands a man with red eyes.
Who are you?
Nick sees the man's fingernails slowly growing as the moonlight casts its glow over his body. His clothes burst from his chest. His teeth were strangely and rapidly growing, taking the shape of a wolf's fangs. Turns into a werewolf right before Nick's eyes, and Nick is truly horrified.
Leave me. Let me go, please. Let me go, let me go, let me go.
The now werewolf attacks Nick, causing his neck to bleed badly. Jenny crying hysterically to Ross's house. Jenny?
Ross, Nick's body was found dead near the hill. He was murdered by a werewolf.
What? What are you talking about?
You heard me right. Nick never came home, so the police went to the forest to look for him because I told them that he had run into the forest. I so wish I had stopped him.
The 2 friends go to Nick's house and find Nick's corpse, which brings them both to tears. Ross gently pulls Jenny away from the awful sight.
Did a werewolf really kill him? How could that be?
You don't believe me, do you? Meet me at the town library tomorrow.
Jenny showed Ross a book written about werewolves.
In 1521, they were first seen in Germany. It's a very dangerous species. They take the form of humans on normal days, but on the night of the full moon, their werewolf form emerges from within. And no matter how much they try, their human side is unable to overcome the raging instincts of the wolf within, and they can't stop themselves from killing.
Ross is peering into the strange images of people in the book. He intently studies the pages of the book before him. All at once, Mike comes running in towards them.
Where have you guys been? I've been searching for you 2 everywhere.
What happened, Mike?
5 students died in college. All of them were victims of a werewolf.
Ross is horrified when he heard this.
Come on, Jenny, we should go.
Ross, we should figure out a way to kill this werewolf. In this book, it says that it can be killed on the full moon's night. And he becomes a werewolf only on nights when there's a full moon. If someone strikes his heart with a silver dagger, he's sure to die. It says so in this book. We can just go pick up a silver dagger at the nearby Walmart.
But then what are we gonna do?
Only when he becomes a werewolf is when he has to kill a human. And that's when we can kill him.
Are you crazy? There's no way I'm gonna be part of any of this. Who would risk their lives on a mission like this?
Okay, Ross, if you don't want to come, don't come. But I want to do this. For Nick.
Jenny, if you don't mind, I'd like to help you. My best friend John was also killed because of that werewolf.
Jenny smiles at Mike. They have something in common. The two of them form a bold alliance and dive headlong into planning their attack until the next night of the full moon. Mike steals the silver necklace from his house and made a dagger from it by giving it to a blacksmith. Night of the moon finally arrives. Mike and Jenny stand their guard near the forest, each of them gripping a silver dagger in their respective hands.
We should enter the forest now.
Jenny and Mike move with caution and torch in hand. They walk to the hilly area and await anxiously there.
It's midnight. How long is this gonna take? I've got a bedtime, Jenny. There's no time left. If we don't kill the werewolf today, who knows how many lives will be lost?
Just then, the werewolf climbs atop Mike and suddenly attacks him. Mike's dagger slips from his hand while the werewolf's deadly teeth are snapping at Mike's neck, and he is relentlessly fighting back. Jenny takes out her dagger and attacks the vicious werewolf. She stabs him in his furry back. The werewolf raises a pain-filled and surprised howl as he looks at Jenny with terrible red eyes and slowly approaches her. Jenny begins walking backwards.
Get out of my city.
The werewolf howls a bloodthirsty roar again. Jenny's foot hits a stone and she falls backwards, scraping and bruising her face. As the werewolf moves towards her, Mike slowly regains consciousness. He had fainted earlier from the attack of the werewolf.
Jenny!
Mike struggles to get on his feet, to charge the werewolf and climb on top of him, as the terrible creature sinks his teeth over and over again into Mike's chest, and Mike dies from fatal blows. Jenny attacks the werewolf again. She had picked up both daggers now. She struck once on his back and the other in his heart, causing the werewolf to scream in pain, disappearing like a shaggy shadow of thick black smoke hanging in the air before her. A few days later, Ross meets her when Jenny has recovered and returned to college.
Forgive me, Jenny. I did not help you when you really needed me. You are a very brave girl.
Ross, you must not forget Mike. I am alive today because of him, and because of him, we're all alive and well.
The end.
Ghost Under the Bed. This story is from the 1980s. A dad named Alex works his job just outside his hometown, London. He's looking for a house for rent for his wife Daisy and their 15-year-old daughter Lucy. He hears of a house they can afford to rent, and he takes Daisy and Lucy to that home to show them.
Daisy, this house is good for you and for Lucy. There's security here, and it's not far from the grocery store, and I can drive to work and come home. I like the place.
Yes, Alex. Both of us will be comfortable here. Don't worry at all. You just concentrate on your work.
In one room of that house, there is a bed. Daisy checks all the house, but she does not see any furniture other than that single bed. She asks broker Max,
Why is this bed kept here? There's no other furniture here. We already have a bed. We do not want this bed.
Madam, when the landlord of this house, Thomas, was relocating, he left this bed here. You can use this bed if you want. Okay, we'll use it, but I would like to buy a new mattress for this bed. Okay, sir. Then you can rent the place next month. Once they rent the place, Alex goes out of town for his work, and Daisy and Lucy work on getting the place cleaned up. After some time, Lucy comes to Daisy.
Mommy, I will sleep on this bed. I like this bed, and it's very beautiful. Okay, Lucy, you can sleep on it.
Lucy was very happy with her new house and her bed, until late at night when she heard a voice calling her.
Lucy.
Lucy wakes, and she lights the lamp, but there's no one in the room. Lucy falls asleep again. After some time, the lamp burns itself out. She lights it again, but it burns out again.
Mommy, someone is calling me last night in my room. Don't be silly. You must have dreamed that, Lucy. Mommy, please sleep with me in my room tonight. Well, okay.
Later, Lucy is studying in her room, and she again hears the creepy voice.
Lucy.
Lucy looks around the room and turns her attention towards the bed.
Lucy. The sound is coming from under my bed.
Lucy looks slowly under the bed, but no one is there. The moment she turns away from the bed, she hears the voice again. She immediately turned back and looked under the bed and saw a frightening, shadowy figure. Then Lucy ran from the bed, screaming. She could not run fast enough. Long arms came from beneath the bed and grabs her. She screams as she is dragged backwards.
Mommy! Mommy! Save me, Mommy!
Then Daisy came into the room.
What happened, Lucy? What happened? Why are you crying? Mommy, there's someone under my bed, Mommy! Under the bed?
When Daisy looks under the bed, no one is there.
No one is here, dear. Mommy, I saw someone, believe me! There's no one here, dear. You just need to calm down.
Lucy is very frightened by this incident, but with her mother there, she calms down, and her mother agrees to sleep in the room with her to prove there is no one under the bed.
Lucy.
When Lucy lights up the lamp and looks under the bed, a terrible soul is looking at her. She screams loudly and then faints. Daisy wakes up and tries to waken Lucy.
Get up, Lucy. Lucy, what happened to you? Wake up, dearie.
Lucy's eyes open, but she's not saying anything at all. She was completely silent and just sits in the room all day long, not even going to eat. Daisy worries about Lucy. Daisy calls Max, the broker, to come over immediately. She met him outside in the garden.
Was there an incident in this house? Look, do not lie. You do not know the condition of my baby girl. There is something wrong with that room.
Meanwhile, Lucy is sitting silently in her room, and again she hears a voice.
Lucy. Lucy.
Lucy stands up. The room door automatically closes. Just then, a soul comes out from under the bed, and the room is filled with its strange darkness. That soul was a ghost. She had a terrible face. She had long hands that lifted her up into the air.
Come, Lucy. This world is not for you. Come with me.
That ghost turns towards the lamp, and it bursts into pieces, the glass falling onto the floor. The ghost looks into Lucy's eyes and takes control of her. Lucy starts walking on those glass pieces. All the while, Daisy is outside, questioning the broker. I don't know about the accident personally, madame, but yes, people do tell ghost stories about this place. The landlord of the house, Thomas, had a 20-year-old daughter named Hazel. She used to stay sick all the time. Her mental condition was not good. People say that she was suicidal. Every day she used to find some way to try to kill herself. She used to tell others to commit suicide along with her. Seeing all this, his family kept her tied to her bed to keep her safe, and they did not tell this to anyone. But one night she killed herself by hitting her head on the bed. And after that, one by one, all of Thomas's family also committed suicide. Only Thomas survived, and he left. But who knows how much of this gossip is true or not?
Oh no! I left my girl in that room!
Daisy runs from the garden back to the house. When Daisy opens the door, she sees that Lucy is walking on the glass and that she's under the ghost's control. Daisy is terrified.
Lucy, my baby girl! Leave my girl alone!
That evil ghost looks at Daisy and, by levitating all the pieces of glass into the air, throws it towards Daisy. Daisy gets badly injured.
Lucy, you come with me. You know what to do.
Lucy comes forward to fly from the window. Injured, Daisy grabs her feet, and the ghost grabs Daisy's hair and throws her.
No, Lucy, don't do it! Wake up!
Lucy jumps out of the window and she dies. The ghost starts laughing out loud.
Lucy, well done, Lucy. I expected this from you.
Daisy's mental state gets unstable. Max runs upstairs and sees Daisy crying badly and Lucy is dead. He informs Alex, and Alex comes home and weeps badly.
He killed my daughter. My daughter also committed suicide. I should also die. Everyone should die.
That ghost is watching her. The end.